Hello and welcome to Cwmtaf Maganodd Mind's discussion around our carer services which operate across Merthyr Tydfil, one of our first online discussions, and I'm really pleased to welcome Jayne young carer, Pam Khan from the Carer Start project and Shian, Neale project coordinator. Welcome all.
So, thank you. Hello.
Nice to see you and nice to see you all, and thank you for joining. I thought that it would be really helpful to just have an informal conversation around some of the needs for carers across Merthyr Tydfil, and particularly interested in your insights, Jayne, as a carer. Can you tell us tell us your story, tell us what life's like for a carer in Merthyr today?
Well, over 20 years ago, my mum was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. At the time, she had the slow progression one, which meant that her mobility deteriorated over time. I would say it got a lot worse in the last 5 or 6 years. In my previous job, I worked full-time, and that was based in Merthyr Tydfil, and they were very understanding. If mum fell, I could go home, no questions asked, just get it sorted. But then they closed down and were moving to Cardiff. Well, being an only child, there was no way I could move to Cardiff for a job and be a carer for my mother as well, because at the time we had nobody else to look after her. So I was fortunate enough to take voluntary redundancy. Then I found another part-time job based in Merthyr, and again the employers were very good with my mother. Again, if I needed to come home for any reason I could, or if I need to go to any appointment, so something like that I was very, very fortunate with. I didn't know until my mother was bedbound and we had a social worker involved that we were allowed a carer's assessment. Social worker never told me anything. It was through work I actually found that out. And to this day, I've never had the carer's assessment. It can be challenging. It's difficult on times. We are very fortunate to have very good carers that come in 4 times a day. That's a godsend, really, because they are brilliant. They do all the personal care and the moving, and the only thing they aren't allowed to do is give mum her medication. So if I'm not around, mum doesn't get her medicines. It can prompt her to take it. So if I get them ready for her, they can say, come on, take your tablets, but they're not actually allowed to. So if I do go anywhere for a day, I have to ensure that all her tablets are laid out ready. They will do her meals if I leave food out, but normally I've done everything for her and left food in the fridge, or we've worked it out. But they said they are willing, and thankfully with having dogs as well, they help out with that as well. It's not their job, but as I said, that's where we're very, very fortunate, and it's taken a lot of strain off me. Lockdown, however, has been quite hard going because I'm working from home. My mother now thinks I'm at her beck and call. So every 5 minutes, all I can hear is, Jayne. And, it can get frustrating. It's so frustrating on times you can't get on with anything. Or I have found myself very stressed, very angry, very resentful. You don't want to feel those things, but you can't help it.
No.
But I say, thankfully, the carers are here to help out. And also, my employers are very understanding, so that's a huge bonus for me.
Thank you for sharing that, Jayne. I mean, clearly it's a very personal set of circumstances for you. But I think what you've kind of summarised really is, and also, I hope Mum is well, and I'm sure she is now that you're at home caring for her. But I guess some of the key messages from what you just said are, that there's flexibility around employers, and the need of carers is around having some flexibility for the employer. You touched on really not knowing what your right to as a carer and your right to carer's assessment from the local authority. So I guess that's something that we might want to pick up in the conversation.
Yeah.
And you've given a very honest, review of your own emotional well-being and health. So thank you for that. I just worth, it's probably worth just coming and involving Shian and Pam in this conversation. In terms of Jayne's story, are we seeing any trends for other carers across Merthyr? So let's pick up on this issue of carers assessment, Pam. What kind of things do you see in the project around carers assessment?
I would say I visit many carers who have been carers for years, like you, Jayne, and I've just sort of slipped under the net where carers assessments are concerned. Didn't even know that they were entitled to carers assessments. We have the conversation using the carer star around your needs, and that assessment usually that we carry out, that usually flags up needs around your sort of role. And I always talk through with the carer to suggest that we should get social services in to actually do the carers assessment. And again, 9 times out of 10, help is provided. Having spoke to the carer, as I say, you've slipped under the net, like many other carers that I see, and help is usually provided. Obviously, depending on circumstances. As you said, you've had carers provided for you. Good carers, by the sounds of it. You're very lucky that you've got good carers coming in and out. That will do over and above what they are paid to do, such as tablets, seeing to the dogs, and giving you a little bit of respite, which is, most needed with most carers that I visit, really. So yes, normally my job is to sort of identify that using a carer star. We go around the star, looking at your time for yourself, emotional support, access to work, which sounds as if you've been lucky in many respects with both employers. So yes, you've been lucky in them positions, really. But obviously you mentioned that you've got frustrations around your role now because we're not in normal circumstances as we would be without COVID-19. So I would say you could contact the Carer Star Project and speak through them frustrations, and then we would come up with some sort of solution for you, that could possibly help you.
Okay.
So Pam, for people who are watching this and are at home as carers, looking after the kids or doing a great job, but accepting that lockdown is really challenging, what help can Contact Morgana's Mind provide? And how do people contact the Carer Star Project? So how do you sum up what the Carer Star Project does?
The Carer Star Project, when we have a referral or someone contacts us directly, we have a conversation, again, using the Carer Star as a sort of base, if you like, as a good tool to draw out information that maybe they wouldn't have a conversation with anyone else. We look at the needs. A lot of it has been financial. Some carers being furloughed during this time. Yeah. So there's been a lot of financial difficulties with some of our carers. I have permission from the carer and ask if they would like sort of help, advice around that situation, usually referring them into CAB mainly, but there are other services out there as well. There's been difficulty with people getting out and about to do shopping because their loved ones are vulnerable, and they self-isolating, so they can't go out and about to expose their loved one to any risks.
But are they then connected to the services that are available in the community and all the volunteering effort that we're seeing? So are volunteers engaged in shopping for carers and so on?
It's usually a role that I take on to refer in. For example, if someone can't get out and about, I've referred into Stevens and George. I got to say they've been most helpful because they provide food for the old and elderly and vulnerable, and food parcels for people that can't get out and were struggling, financially. So there's services like that out there are, that have been vital to people that are caring. It's been sort of excellent service, really. There's good support out there, but it's knowing where to find it. And usually coming to the Carer Star project, it's my role, if you like, to signpost and point them in the right direction.
So people listening to this, they can contact you directly, Pam, and then the Carer Star project will help link up those people to other services that are available across the community in Merthyr Tydfil, yeah?
Yes. So it's just a simple, phone call, and we have a discussion, usually a long discussion, and it's usually giving a lot of emotional support to people because, they've worried for such a long time during this pandemic. So initially it's usually people very upset or come to the end of their tether, and it's usually having that sort of conversation around, where I can sort of help and support, really.
And there is a new element to the project now as well, Pam, isn't there, where we recently were awarded a grant so that we can connect with our carers during this time. So that part of the project is known as Carers Connect. So Pam is providing support to carers in the Merthyr Tydfil area, RCT, and across Bridgend by connecting with them through digital means, so whether that's via a tablet or the phone or a laptop, and providing one-to-one, face-to-face support for those who need it. And you've set up a WhatsApp group, haven't you, Pam, where carers can connect with each other and provide support to each other, which many carers have found quite invaluable over the past few weeks, haven't they?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's been going, I think, since the end of March, early May. And the feedback have been absolutely fantastic. People saying how valid that has been to them, sharing their problems with each other, giving tips to one another. We've now got carers saying good morning to each other on WhatsApp, good morning, how are you? Everyone okay? Lovely day. That sort of conversation goes on in the morning. And I notice last thing at night, then people are saying good night. And one of the carers recently said to me, that alone is lovely, because I know that someone else is thinking about me, because I haven't got anyone else to think about me, other than myself and the person that she is caring for. So the feedback has been, fantastic from everyone really that have taken part in it. So so that's a fantastic resource where people can sort of join the group, share their worries, their troubles, and lots of the time there's lots of laughter as well. So it's a nice sort of avenue to, have a laugh and a joke with other carers about, things that's happened to them in the day. So it's been fantastic, really.
So it's not uncommon, Pam, is it, that carers experience loneliness and isolation in their caring roles? So are we saying that the new Carers Connect service that Shian talked about is offering an online platform that is addressing some of that loneliness and isolation?
Absolutely, I would yes, absolutely say that. Yes, it's definitely helping people that feel isolated because they can't, they're stuck in that role. As Jayne mentioned earlier, it's quite frustrating because the cared for is calling you every sort of 5 minutes to do something, so they got no respite from that, So yes, it's a definite, brilliant resource really, because they are feeling sort of isolated in their own bubble, so to speak,
And, you said the carers are, engaging, say good morning, say good night, connecting and telling each other stories. Is that platform, I guess, the platform is offering an opportunity to have a bit of fun for carers, but it's also got a serious element in terms of sharing information and relevant services for carers. So So what would your message be, Pam, to those who could connect in that, and how do people get in touch with you?
They can contact me. We can give them the telephone number at the end of this. They could get in touch with me to find out, how they can join our group. The message is that people are a little bit afraid at first, as I was. I didn't like the idea of doing it because I thought it was a bit sort of not sure. But just try it, just to go. And the other carers that have taken part, they enjoy it. The feedback from everyone have been sort of really positive. I haven't had sort of any negativity from it really. So, I'm sure they'll enjoy it as do the other carers.
So some of those initial anxieties around connecting to something new online, but as soon as people do get online, they're having a bit of fun and they're getting the relevant information and advice that they need as carers. Is that
absolutely?
All right. Yeah. Well, I think that's a really good place to start this conversation. I'm sure we can have more conversations around the needs of carers in Merthyr. I just want to say a special thanks to Jayne for sharing your personal stories, Jayne, and the information that you provided Pam around the carer star. I think has been really helpful and useful. And like you say, we can provide details on the back of this so that anybody, living in Merthyr Tydfil as a carer can connect with our services. And Shian, thanks ever so much for the update on the new development for the Carers Connect element of this new project as well. So taking things online, doing what we can, we're there for carers, and we would encourage people to connect with Pam to engage in the service that we can offer. Thanks ever so much for that conversation, guys. It went good for me, and I hope it went well for you. So I'll see you again soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.